Now it's time for Union County EDGEcast, a podcast to discuss the current economic development environment within Union County, North Carolina, the greater Charlotte area, the state of North Carolina, and beyond. During this time, Chris will discuss many topics with guests ranging from industrial leaders, important allies, and thought leaders throughout the economic development landscape. You can also find the video version of this episode on the Monroe-Union County Economic Development's YouTube channel and other social media platforms. Please know that the views, information, or opinions expressed during this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the policies or positions of any other agency, organization, employer, or company. Now let me introduce your host, Chris Platte, Executive Director of Monroe-Union County Economic Development.
Hello, everyone. Our guest today is Mr. Chip Pope with Shelco Construction.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
How are you doing today?
Excited to be here, man.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
man.
Just put what this is, just to remind everybody, this is the Union County EDGEcast. It's our thing that we've put together to kind of reach out to folks within the world of economic development that touch us and find out what's going on in their world and how it kind of can eventually translate back to Union County and stuff
Makes
here.
sense,
So,
yeah.
I appreciate, again, you coming and joining us. Chip and I have known each other for a while. So
10 plus years, maybe?
Yeah. So some of the insults that you see going back and forth are...
They're out of love, Chris.
Right, yes.
And they're well-deserved, by the way.
Yeah,
so,
so most of the insults are genuine.
Yeah.
Trust me.
it's on you. Yeah. I'm happy to be here, man. It'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it. I hope nobody's hoping to learn anything today.
No.
Okay,
no.
good.
Are you kidding?
Shame on them.
Right. If you come in here with some false expectations.
Yeah. That's on you.
Right. So I want to find out a little bit about you. So where'd you grow up?
Born in Memphis, Tennessee. Grew up there till about fourth grade, then moved to Charlotte, and pretty much grew up here.
Do you have a baby Elvis outfit?
I never went to Graceland. I have no reason why or not we didn't get there. But so I grew up here in Charlotte, went to school all the way through here, South Meck High School, and then went to the Clemson of the North or the Harvard of the South, depends on who you talk to, NC State, right? And all that, right? So I can't wait for this next part of the conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know
great.
what's coming, right?
I'm glad I'm sitting down. Perfect.
So how is it being an NC State fan?
One word, purgatory. And that's just the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
We think we're a football school. We go 7-5. We went up in the Belk Bowl. Now the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowl, which is great, but not great.
Just think of the concessions.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. You think of the talent we've had there: the Phillip Rivers, Russell Wilson, Mike Glennon, Mario Williams, all these guys that came through.
Right.
And we win 8 games. We lose to Georgia Tech. We lose to Wake Forest every year in Winston, which stinks because my wife, who's the best thing's ever happened, by the way, went to Wake Forest. And then we go to basketball, and we're between Chapel Hill and Duke. So it's awful. It's
the best fan base in the world. They deserve a good school because they are. I mean, they're so
best
loyal.
Is a strong word. We're extremely loyal. We're very passionate. But man, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's I used to be really into it, games all the time, and now my wife would be like, "Hey, the game's on." I'd be like, "Record it, and I'll delete it once I found out we lost by 20." So that's usually how that goes on a Saturday, unfortunately. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
So, you played a little, or you were a sports guy. You played baseball.
Played baseball. Yeah. I'm glad you didn't. Continue with the myth that you've been lying for years.
Yes,
but
you're a collegiate athlete.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So decent baseball player growing up. Peaked. We've talked about this, which you make fun of me constantly, which I really appreciate. But peaked probably in 8th grade.
Yeah.
South Charlotte Middle School. I mean, phenom gets thrown around, I think, all too often. But phenom would be the word.
There's still an engraving. Or something.
They are. I'm waiting on the artist's, rendition of the bronze bust of me to be finished finally at South
do you have
Charlotte
to
Middle
approve
School.
that before?
Oh, 100%, 100%. So long story short, it was an invited walk on NC State that lasted a day and a half, and I hope you don't make me expand upon that story. But I was not as good as I thought I was. Got there, realized everybody else was better than me, and waking up at 5 a.m. as a 18-year-old kid,
Yeah.
freshman year of college, was not not the recipe to success for me.
Yeah, when I got to college, I had sort of the same experience of everyone's better than me.
Because you ran.
Well, and besides that, it's
Idiots.
just in general, I think, and it's continued every day since then. I've noticed that everyone's better than me.
Why would you run for fun?
I don't
that
know.
astounded
In
me.
circles.
If we cursed at practice or got in trouble with grades, they'd be like, go run. It's the worst thing ever.
Right.
And
I
there you were.
volunteered to do it, yeah.
Short shorts, just
Oh, man.
2 laps at a time, right?
Hot pants, man.
Good practice. Go run
Right.
some
It
more.
was 200, 400, 800, and that was
The worst.
my bandwidth. That was it. I wasn't quick enough for 100.
Could never figure you guys out, man.
No, it was torture.
Yeah.
I don't, self-loathing. Right.
Pathway to NC State fan. Just do it to yourself.
Right. That was most of Clemson's until
Yeah,
recently.
nah, you're fine. Stop the Clemson stuff. Nobody wants to
anyway.
talk about Clemson.
No, you're right.
Ugh.
So again, you're doing business development.
Yep.
Shelco, phenomenal company, has done a
Thank you for saying
lot
that.
of the iconic buildings and big developments
Yeah.
in the region in both states. And so, how did you come across Shelco? How did you get involved in business development?
Went to NC State for business. Had no idea what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
God's honest truth. Even up to my junior or senior year, kind of the catch-all business
Right.
management school program. And it's a short but funny story. Was leasing apartments at the college inn, which is the athletic dorm up there. And Tom O'Brien had just been hired
Oh,
because
yeah.
we fired
Right.
Chuck the Chest in his red shoes.
Everybody
And
loved
so,
the shoes.
oh man, God. So anyway, so Tom O'Brien wants to move into the apartment complex where the kids live.
Yeah.
Athletes. So he moved in and took over the model apartment. And so I'm there on like a Friday morning, Thursday morning, don't remember exactly. 6 a.m. He's a Marine. He's there early.
Yeah.
Help him unload the stuff. Get moved into this model apartment. And I don't think the leasing office opened until about like 9 a.m. or something. But anyway, I'm in the help Tom O'Brien move in. Go to start opening up the office at like 7:30, just getting stuff ready. And there's a knock on the door. Open the door, and it's a gentleman who wants to see an apartment for his daughter for the fall.
Yeah.
I go through the whole thing. So, man, we don't have a model to show you, all this kind of stuff. And he really didn't care. He wanted to see an apartment. So offered up mine. And it turned out to be Ed Rose, CEO of Shelco. So right place,
Okay.
right time. And handed me a business card and said, before you make a decision on your career, why don't you give me a call? And so joke's on them. It's been 13 years and running now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Would have never thought to get into construction. Didn't have a path to construction. Wasn't handy growing up or anything like that. And so still not very handy. But it's worked out, man. I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Wow.
It's been great.
Just the odds of
Just,
something
yeah,
like that
sure,
happening.
sure dumb luck. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So again, like you said, Shelco's been around a long time. So
78.
wow.
Yeah.
So within that time frame, now is it still family owned? It's
No, Charlie and Ed Shelton got out in 2003, and Ed and his senior partners, Gerard Reed, Howard Peabody, Scott Bingle, Dan Perry, Barry Gardner, those guys bought them out in
Okay.
2003, and they've run it since 2003.
but still kind of locally.
Yeah, all
managed,
locally owned,
almost
management
like
owned, all
yeah.
that kind of good stuff. Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So with that, there's been a lot of opportunities there for projects and stuff.
Yeah.
What are some of the I guess not necessarily favorite projects, but projects that have sort of stood out to you over your time?
Well, you know this. I mean, every pursuit you chase to bring to Union County is different, right?
Right.
How it comes to you, how you pursue it, chase it, achieve it, win it, build it, whatever. And so that's a wide-ranging answer, but it's pretty neat to drive around Charlotte, drive around 277 or in South Park and see some of the high-rises we built that have
Right.
shaped the city. To drive down to the Waverly area to see that, to go to Kingsley to see
Right.
LPL and Lash and how that's changed that whole area. But there's some that hit a little bit more maybe emotionally, and Ed and the senior leadership done a pretty good job of every year they pick out a charity or a group that maybe
yeah.
needs some help. And so we've done some really cool ones. The first one was Hopeway, a mental health facility right off of Park Road near Quail Hollow Shopping Center. First facility like its kind in Charlotte to truly help those that struggle with that. Took an older, dilapidated building, fix it up, and to see the change and then what happens there is we'll tug at the heartstrings. But the one for me probably here recently was the Men's Shelter Charlotte.
Okay.
Walked in, and that place was, it was tough to walk through to
Right.
see the conditions that these folks were struggling with life to be there and live in that. But Liz and her team at Men's Shelter got us on board. Shelco donated everything in kind.
Oh, wow.
That's Ed's big heart. And to see what that place became, and then how we've stayed with it, and serving lunches and helping those guys. I don't know how many times, probably a dozen times since that's been, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. But
it didn't stop with the construction.
Didn't stop. I mean, and those are the kinds that keep you going. I know we've done a lot of stuff with Habitat, but to see there and still see the effect day to day is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's people don't appreciate, I think, sometimes, or truly understand what private industry, whether it's the construction side or a manufacturing company, what they actually do in a community, how they give back.
And there's tons. I mean, Shelco's not the only one by any means. I mean, you see some of what our great competitors do, and what a difference we make, and that's it helps, makes you feel good, and to see folks doing good, and then see the after effect of those dominoes falling is just awesome.
So obviously, we're in the middle of an interesting time with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so from our standpoint, we saw January to May sort of 1.1 to 5.1. We had year over year about a 55% drop in our projects activities. How is that? Have y'all seen something similar? And sort of, after about mid-May, we've seen it start to pick back up.
Yeah, sure.
So how has it affected you guys?
So for me, being on, hopefully the tip of the spear, Shelco, of chasing these leads and finding out about them, right? January and February we were still gangbusters.
Okay.
Up until kind of the world stopped. And then I would say March, the music stopped completely. And I was trying to tell our guys that, if I'm sending out emails or phone calls to folks like you or architects, engineers, whoever, when I make one phone call, it usually leads to one or two more, and it's kind of a ripple effect of dominoes falling, right? So that just didn't happen. Come March, April, May, I'd make one phone call, and I'd call Chris Platte, and Chris would be like, yeah, I'm at home. You're right. We're waiting for the world to get back to normal. We're working on stuff, whatever, and that phone call just kind of stopped. So that dominoes didn't continue to fall.
Right.
So thank God it has picked back up, and I would say since about May, it's nowhere near what it was.
Right.
But it has picked up to the level that we're feeling much more confident and bullish on what's to come. Hopefully.
Wow, that's great. Yeah.
We'll see.
Again, given this, has it provided opportunities? Do you think for people? To find some advantages maybe in pricing or something else? Yeah, I mean, it's like trying to time the market, right? So nobody's going to get that right. But we have a couple projects that are in pre-construction that maybe would have started in spring or summer that have slowed down, and we've gone back out to pricing. We have, Shelco, or the end user, has realized lower sub-pricing, and I think that's mostly driven by labor prices versus material. And that's what I think you and I talked about.
We talked about a little bit, yeah. I think folks like Shelco, and then you come down to subcontractors, and they're looking ahead to 21 and what that backlog is going to look like, and trying to get work on the books for the next year to 18 months. Yeah.
So when you're talking to the clients now, now that it's picked back up, has something changed in sort of the request, or they're looking at like lobby changes?
Right. Yeah, I know we talked about it a little bit. It depends on the product. Industrial, retail. Nothing's happening in retail, but we'll take office for example. We've had to look at a lot of things: the way lobbies are designed, the way people enter and exit buildings, touch points. It's become very sensitive. So restrooms without doors, individual hand wash stations, so individual urinal stalls, that kind of stuff, where it's not so much maybe as open. And there's more. That shoe's going to drop later, but some of the big stuff is, elevator usage and capacity, right? So you take the 23-story we're building for Childress Klein and Ram at South End for, I can't say the name, but home improvement company, right? I mean, everybody knows about it. But 23 stories, and how those folks are going to get off the light rail into that lobby, ride an elevator up, right? And if it's 4 per cab or whatever the rules are going to be, and how we can achieve that. What does that do for folks entering maybe not at 7 or 8 or 9 and staggering starts and all that kind of stuff? So there's a lot to come on how buildings operate and how we use them, I think. And I think everybody's trying to figure that out. There's no answer, right, obviously. But the architects we've worked with have come up with some great ideas. We've priced those changes and what it looks like. And so now it's up to the end users, developers around to say this is what we need, or this is best foot forward on what we can build. It's
going to be interesting, really, to see going forward.
And they'll figure it out, man. They're smart people, smarter than us.
Right, exactly. But it is, is it less demand? Can people stay home more? As technology has improved, Is he
Are you
more
efficient at
flex
home?
Space? I am not.
Yeah.
I'm efficient at going to the refrigerator. I need to.
We're all
going to
be good at something, Chris.
I got a social distance from the white box, man. That thing is. Oh.
I mean, so to your point, I've talked to folks and they're like, yeah, we have a certain group of employees that can work from home. That's natural, whatever it is. And I don't want to typecast certain, jobs, but there's others like mine and yours where, just coming to the office, knocking out your to-do list, and that usually leads to something else, right? So being here creates the next path of doing something. So we have folks telling us that, we're going to need less space.
Right.
Okay, we'll figure that out, redesign the current space. Or other folks saying, we need people here. We need more space to accommodate this head count and giving folks the social distancing they need or whatever else.
That's true.
So it cuts both ways, I think.
Yeah, in our situation, I can't imagine some of the interactions just between staff that would be impossible.
Just don't happen.
Right. I got to run immediately to Evan's
What
office.
they call them in the architectural world, interaction points or call them like on stairwells, open areas, stuff like that, where you're going to run into a coworker or something else, and it creates dialogue, right? So I think a lot of folks miss that. I know I miss that.
Absolutely.
I mean, as a social person, right, like you are,
Right.
It's not fun to try to do that from home.
I think any extrovert,
Yeah.
I'm not getting. Zoom is not providing what
Zoom
I
is
need.
Zoom is the worst. If I ever have to go my whole life without those Zoom calls.
Sucking energy right out of you. I hate it. But looking at that too, technology sort of affects everybody in some ways. I don't know if that really affects construction as much. How is technology and some of the improved, over the last so many years?
Man, it's come a long way. Yeah, construction. I don't say construction is slow to change. We're not on the cutting edge of technology.
Right.
Obviously, it feeds to us. But, man, the stuff they can do now versus 10, 15 years ago when I first started is just unbelievable. It truly is. Everybody talks about BIM, building information modeling, and how that's come alive and what that does. But that has the trickle effect of so many other things that we do now and the way people can build and see buildings before they go vertical. Stopping challenges in the field before they're there. I mean, and it goes all the way to, building, say we're going to build an office building or spec building for you guys, and the end user wants something, the ability to take an iPad out there and shoot something up and see the duct work and what it's going to be like, or all the maintenance logs are on there. So your maintenance guy go up there, scan a barcode, and he sees when it was, the filter was changed. I mean, it's crazy. Right. It's amazing. And so I think it's going to continue to change, and we've got guys on our team that kind of on our technology side and our BIM team that take that and just disseminate it to us so we can understand it, because we're just dumb contractors, right? So,
but it is amazing how you can make those changes now.
It's unbelievable.
Before you, change order.
Yeah. You could call and say, Chip, we need to see a 200,000 square foot box on this piece of dirt, and within literally almost no amount of time, we can get some out there on a Google Earth. Drop it on there, show what it's going to look like, orient it, show you all the kind of stuff you need. It's smart people than us, Chris. Like I said,
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, there's different ways you do your job. Obviously, we go out and see each other, and all those other things. But golf, is
love it.
One of those. So, how'd you get involved? You've got a funny story.
You do.
With the
thank
golf.
you for teeing that up.
Yes.
Pun intended.
Yes.
Yeah. Appreciate that. So I'll tell you the two funny ones, or you can bring up the second one later about shooting. But grew up playing baseball, other sports, not really golf. My dad would take me to the driving range, public driving range, a couple times a year, and just swing as hard as I can, right, like any kid. So graduate, come to work at Charlotte, and I go to play in a Carolina's Healthcare, now Atrium golf tournament. And I was playing with Howard Peabody, our COO at the time, who's now retired. And Chris, I'd aim at the left trees and pray that it ended up in the right rough where I could find it.
Right.
Okay, just a huge slice, much like your shirt here says.
Right, the hook.
No hook and slice, but yeah. So probably shoot like 110. I mean, I couldn't break 100, couldn't probably break 105.
Right.
Loved it, but just not good.
Yeah.
So we get done, take off my hat, shake Howard's hand. We're walking in the car, and I won't do his impersonation of him. I don't want to get in trouble. But he thanked me, said it was a lot of fun, and he told me I need to go get golf lessons or I wouldn't be his salesman. So I'm like, oh, that's great. Yeah. And then I realized he's
serious,
completely serious. It's one of those things where you're just like, oh, man, like, what do you say? How do you overcome this? So that was like a Thursday, I think, or Friday that tournament was. So go home, tell my wife, and it keeps you up. I'm like, I want to keep my job.
Right.
How am I going to do this? So I go talk to him on the Monday, and he was great. He said, look, you got to get better. No hiding that. So he told me to go get lessons. He didn't offer to pay for them, which is, I thought, kind of weird. And then he would, like 1 or 2 days a week, he said, Chip, just leave at 4:30. Leave 30, 45 minutes before anybody else and hit balls on your way home. And so I did it, and it worked out. Excellent. I still credit him.
Right.
Just a small degree of.
Well, you've gotten pretty good at that.
Love it. Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I play prospect golf all the time, not on purpose.
You're just a nicer person.
Yeah.
You just always play client golf, right? You always.
I work too hard.
You're a grinder. I know you are. It's okay. I'll say it. You're good. You're a good man.
But there's something that you and I both are pretty good at, is in the shooting side. So you got me introduced to Meadowood.
Mm-hmm.
I had a shotgun my whole life, and
did you grew up doing that your whole life?
Not shooting. We would
sporting clays.
Yeah, we'd shoot stuff that probably we shouldn't have.
Petroleum tanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Propane
As
tanks.
a kid,
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, milk jugs to whatever.
Water balloons. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So, oh wow, look at that explode.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I've always had that.
Okay.
But the sporting clay side, came really natural. So how did y'all find that? And it's a fun story.
I know. Appreciate it again of showing me how little I got out as a kid, I guess. Same situation. Thanks. Oh,
but
man.
You're a collegiate athlete.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. They'll just keep picking that scab. So literally, I think that winter, after I had been chastised for not being a good golfer, Ed Rose says, hey, we're going to take you down to a place called Meadowwoods.
Right.
Introduced to Larry Schneider, who I think the world of now. And we have a hunting club membership. So I'm probably 24, and I do not have the courage to tell Ed that I've maybe fired a gun 5 or 6 times in my whole life, right? So we get in his car, and I'm sitting next to him, and he's driving. He's telling me about it and how I can use it, and I'm just sitting there staring out the window like, how can I tell this guy, my CEO, my boss, that, man, I don't even know how to operate safely a gun, all that kind of stuff. So we get there, and Larry and Ed are catching up, all kinds of good stuff, and Larry looks at me and says, well, Chip, when was the last time you shot, and how'd you do? And I was like, 7th grade, and I shot some milk jugs filled with sand.
Yeah.
And it was, music stopped. It was like the scene from Animal House. Yeah, right. Otis, my man. And, so luckily Larry felt really bad for me, my situation. I showed up a couple times, took the course. I think it's Cabela's or Bass Pro, the gun safety course, which is great. And I needed to take that. And they're just like golf. You go out and you find somebody better than you, and you do it, and you take the advice, and it's worked out. And I love it. And it's a good way to, I've talked about not everybody golfs, right?
Right.
Not everybody shoots. So we've learned to do the golfing, the sporting clays, the hunts, fly fishing, whatever it is. And it's a fun way to connect with people.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, again, their walls come down. You get to know them personally, and it's a lot easier to like you and I, we know each other pretty well. So if something is going wrong, that relationship allows you to say, hey.
Oh, yeah, you can pick up the phone and say, Chip, you did something wrong, right? And there's no offense taken, but you want that, right? You want that easy lines of communication. So, yeah, a Zoom phone call probably doesn't get you that.
Right.
100% agree. So going to golf, going to fly fish, going to shoot sporting clays, one, you get to know the person better and what makes them tick. So that hopefully makes you a better service to them, right? So I know what you need or what you're expecting when you call and ask for something.
Right.
So it makes a huge difference. I think the world works better that way.
Yeah. So it's just one of those benefits of the job, that we can go out and have these kind of relationships.
Oh, it's 100% work. It's not a benefit, not a perk.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Exactly. I tell them all the time, I got to go play golf again.
Yeah.
Ike Granger, right, who was before me, had the best line, and his wife's Dee Dee, who I adore, said that he's the only person in America knows he has to put on sunblock to go to work every day, which I thought was a great line.
That is great.
Yeah, it's good.
I know Bob Leake, he used to be up in Winston.
He used to always swinging swine, right?
Yeah, exactly. He used to always talk about, there's not a spouse in America that actually knows what an economic developer does.
No, I don't think I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Except for his mom, because his mom was married to one, and then she had a son that was one.
Man.
But outside of that, it's a job that's really hard to explain. Even my kids today are like, what do you do? I'm sure yours have the same.
Yeah, it's impossible to explain what you try to do day to day, but
But it is interesting because at the end of the day, like you said, the lash, the LPLs, the stuff at Waverly.
Oh, the connections you make, the stuff you get to work on is just unbelievable, right?
And to see the change in people's lives from what was built,
yeah.
what's going on in those buildings that you put together for us. Same thing, what we bring in.
100%, man. And the lasting effect it has on Monroe, Union County, the region, like you talked about. Never ending, right? The schools we build, all that kind of stuff, man. It's really cool. Really cool.
I appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having me.
Willing to put up with the jabs and
no,
and
that
all
was easy.
And so,
I'm glad you held back. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I held back, sure. But again, I hope everybody takes the opportunity to continue to listen to these and subscribe if you can. And so this has been our third one. We're working working our way up to the good guests. The gooder guests.
Third. Talk about that off air, boss.
Exactly. Lucky number 3.
Yeah, great.
So so again, we appreciate your input in this, and hopefully people learn a little bit about it.
Yes, sir.
Again, the Union County Economic Development EDGEcast is and the sponsors of that, and again, another shout out to Shelco and all of our sponsors that allow us to do this, and so hopefully it gives a little bit more exposure to Union County. And thank you again, Chip. Appreciate you being here.
Happy sports, you guys.
All right, man.
See you,
Talk
Chris.
to you soon.